Morning. This is video number 14, and today is February the 3rd, 2025. And I have my favorite object again, just for you. Where'd I put it? Oh, I need my wedges. Hold on. Well, I did say this was going to be very amateurish as a channel. I'm not trying to be a television station. Let the TV stations be the TV stations. I'm just a homebody, housewife, widow, or used to be housewife. If you're a widow, are you still a housewife? Damn if I know. Remember this guy? My friendly neighborhood, this guy. What I used to do, it's a Smith Corona. It's not a piece of junk. It's a good one. Top of the line in its day. Actually, this sucker is heavy. Weighs more than a laptop. The topic today is speed and how it's really worked against us. One of the things that the scammers will do is they try to create a false sense of urgency. Now, if you have widow brain and you're already afraid that you can't take care of your house, they're going to create a sense of urgency with the electrical panel. Oh, the house could burn down. You have to fix it right away, right now. You don't take any time to ask your neighbor who's an inspector, an electrical inspector, which is such a the dumbest thing I've ever done in my life was to forget to ask my neighbor to do a second opinion, because sense of urgency, which plays into fear, and the F-bomb, which is fear, right? Well, back in the days of the pencil and the typewriter, what I used to do when I've written probably hundreds of papers in my time between high school and undergraduate and then graduate school, and I think I was in there for 6 more years. I think I have 30 extra credits. I counted them up once, but it's a long time ago. 15 for the original, for the master's degree, and then another 15. I think I don't know. I have to look it up. I know I have it written down somewhere, but I digress. The topic is speed, and speed is not in our favor here. I get just as impatient as anyone. I don't want to have to wait. If something is that little circle on the computer is going, I get just as aggravated as everybody else, believe me. But I have learned something. I have learned that haste makes waste. $18,000 worth of waste that I got stuck with these loans I shouldn't have had. Why? Because fear and urgency. Well, in terms of the mice were here. I mean, I could see them. You could see them running at night. Here they go. I saw one jump out of the trash can. I tried to get the the bag closed before he got away, but he was too fast. Those suckers are fast, I'm telling you. But the real topic is speed is not your friend, whether it's a drug or whether it's velocity. This is the biggest problem. If somebody, a scammer, or even a quote unquote legitimate or supposedly legitimate business like Mr. Sparky and Ben Franklin Plumbing and Terminix, the 3 companies I have it in for, because they create a sense of urgency, fear, and speed that's needless haste. And this causes problems. And again, if you have widow brain, you're not thinking clearly. If you have mice in the house, you're not going to be thinking clearly regardless of widow brain or not. Or you have mice, you don't want mice. So that creates a sense of panic. But panic, fear, and speed are our worst enemies, because that's when we make bad decisions. Bad decisions. I'm not even going to get into the romantic catfishing thing just yet, but that's coming down the pike, because I knew somebody in person who was catfished. Very sad story. But getting back to my topic, which is speed. We have a speed addiction right now in this culture. Why? Because we don't use typewriters anymore. It's too heavy to pick up. I don't want to pick it. We don't use pencils and pens and typewriters and paper anymore like we used to. What I used to do was I got the topic or get my ideas, make some notes, and it was all on loose leaf, and I would write everything out. Sometimes I would even use a pencil because you could erase it. Sometimes I'd use a pen. This is my favorite pen, a good old-fashioned plain Bic, best one ever, ever made. And I'd write it out in longhand, and then at a certain point, I would start to feel that I was in control of the topic Then I would switch to the typewriter and I would type out the first draft. And how I'm a really good typist today because of all the typing I did to produce essays back in school. When I was in high school, college, and graduate school, I was constantly typing. So as a result, I'm a really good typist, really fast. There you go, speed again, right? But the thing is, the process of writing cannot be rushed. The process of learning cannot be rushed. One of the worst pieces of advice I got from a principal was when you do vocabulary, what is that thing that they call it? Speed something. I forget what they call it. There's a thing that they do, lightning rounds. That's what it was, lightning rounds. And you're supposed to be able to learn vocabulary at lightning speed. Guys, it doesn't work that way. You know, if you're going to really learn a whole list of vocabulary, right, you are going to have to study it, repeat it, repeat it, rehearse it, write it, say it out loud, question yourself, get someone else to test you, quiz you. Learning doesn't happen at the speed of lightning. I'm sorry. You think it's a cool idea. We're going to learn this vocabulary fast. No, you're not. You might have short-term retention, but you're not going to have long-term retention if you do things too freaking quickly. Slow down. Everybody, slow down. We talk too fast, especially me. We talk too fast. We type too fast. And we make decisions way too fast. And when you're a widow, the last thing you want to do is make a fast decision about anything. If you're going to buy the chocolate or the vanilla pudding, that's okay. You can make that one fast because it doesn't matter. But the consequences of making a lightning speed decision are grave and extensive. Just ask me. I got $18,000 in the hole because these people. That lightning speed, haste, urgency. These scammers on Pierogi's got everything kind of nailed down with the calling scammers. Oh, another thing, a detail that you may or may not have noticed. People from the subcontinent, when they speak English, what subcontinent means Pakistan and India and Bengal, that whole area, right? Indo-Pakistan or Indo-Bengal, you know, that area near India, the Indian neighborhood. They have trouble distinguishing the W from the V when they speak. They speak English exceptionally well, probably better than Americans do because they're more precise with their pronunciation, except for the V and the W. If they are going to say velocity or widow, they might say widow, or they might say velocity. They have trouble. A lot of languages, a lot of cultural areas have trouble, depending on the language, have trouble with certain things in English. The Japanese cannot distinguish, and the Chinese, not to save their life, they cannot distinguish R from L. They cannot. And maybe if they grew up here and they learned English as a very young child, maybe then. But if they grew up over there, believe me, I tried. I busted tail trying to get them to make that distinction, and they could not do it. During the war, I remember reading about this, and I thought, I understand that. One of the things where the American military tried to distinguish American Japanese from Japanese because sometimes they try to fake, I'm really a Japanese American, they were spies, you know, that kind of thing. They would have them say Lollapalooza. Lollapalooza, it's an old baseball slang term, right? Lollapalooza. There ain't no way anybody raised in Asia and those cultures can ever say that word. Never. It's not going to happen. Same thing in India, the W and the V. If you can get them to say a W or a V or listen to what they're saying, a word with a W or a V, they're going to swap them out. They're going to say "wa" when it should be "va," and this will happen. And even with people who are, again, highly educated, highly intelligent, it's going to happen because it's a linguistic kink. And I'm sure American English speakers have that too. We have a lot of trouble with certain things in other languages, but that's neither here nor there. So today's topic, speed is not your friend. Slow everything down. Think typewriter, not computer. I mean, I'm not saying actually use the typewriter because ain't nobody going to got time for that. I don't either. You know, I sometimes think maybe I'll try using it again just for old time's sake to see what it feels like. I haven't done it yet. I haven't had an extra 5 hours I needed to kill. You know, so I haven't even done it yet. But I'm still going to use the computer and I'm still going to like things that go faster. But when things go faster and somebody's trying to rush you into doing something, that's when you have to stop, drop, and sit down and call a friend. Stop, stop, drop to your buttocks, sit down, take a deep breath, and call a trusted friend to consult. Stop, drop, and phone. Maybe we can stop, drop, and call. Maybe we can say it like that. But you've got to freeze the freeze. You can't let them rush you. And they're going to tell you, oh, this is a big emergency. The house could burn down. The house could burn down. You have to put in this electrical panel right now, right this minute, right now. $8,000 later. That's what happens when you let yourself be rushed. Just refuse. Refuse them. Honestly, women have a lot of trouble saying no. We're sort of, in the Milgram video, which I'm going to talk about in a series of videos, because I think it really has to be, there's an extended thing with that one that we have to really unpack it and really explore it. Don't let anybody rush you, and learn how to say no, damn it. Learn how to say no. No. Just look them in the eye and say no. Practice it in the mirror. Say no. Say no. There was this song, I'm Just a Girl Who Can't Say No. I forget which musical it was in. I really do forget, but it was one of those classic musicals from the 60s. And we're all girls who just can't say no. All of us are. And we got to stop because it's costing us money. Now, as far as where I think scamming is going to head in the next direction scamming is going to take, Pierogi's got the phone calls pretty much tied up. People make calls to entities they thought were Microsoft, they thought were the bank, and they got taken. And one woman that I heard of, I don't know her personally, but she's a friend of a friend. She got taken for like $750,000, which is likely her whole net worth. So here was a fairly wealthy woman in her retirement who could have had an easy retirement, who's now literally impoverished because she listened to a phone scammer. She got on the phone with one of these creeps. I'm trying really hard not to curse, but it's difficult. She got on the phone. She believed what they were telling her. She believed them. And usually if you look at Pierogi's Scammer Payback channel, he has them on the phone. He actually talks to them. He puts his voice through a voice changer thing and tries to sound like a little old lady. I'll tell you what, it's better entertainment than anything on TV, that channel. But it's not really funny because a lot of people have been taken for a butt ton of money. A lot of money, like their entire net worth. Whether your net worth is $60,000 or $600,000, your net worth is the number it is. And you don't want to lose it, especially not in retirement when you might need a household repair or some emergency might come up. You don't want to go down to just living month to month. Trust me, you don't want that. You do not want that. Ask me how I know. Ask me how I know. So I predict, since the emails are starting to get known and people are learning not to click on scammer emails, the next thing is going to be the telephone. And the thing after that is going to be phone numbers will be faked. And you will think you're calling your bank or your doctor, like happened some years back. You're going to think the number, you're going to write down the number and you're going to dial the number exactly, and it's going to go somewhere else. It's going to go somewhere else, and you're going to be on the phone with a freaking scammer in Lahore or somewhere, Hyderabad or something, in Kolkata. You're going to be on the phone with somebody who doesn't know a W from a V. Sorry, but that's just the way it is. I mean, look at Pierogi's channel, Scammer Payback. This is what he's all about. So my prediction is the next wave of scamming is not going to be through the emails anymore, because my filter takes them all out. And now, then on the phone, I have RoboKiller. It takes out 99% of them. And the other 1%, I can just delete them because it's real clear that this was not the only people you should be taking texts and phone numbers from are your friends. And I mean actual real friends, not somebody you met on the internet and you kind of sort of know. No. Unless you've known them for like multiple decades, which I have a few people that are really like Heidi. She's a really good friend, and I've known her for more than 10 years online. Never met in person, but we do know each other, and I'm confident. I've met people in person who've met her in person. Let's put it that way. Shout out to Mohsin Omar if he's listening. Hopefully he's listening. Yeah, so the next wave I predict is going to be phone calls and numbers that are rerouted. What's the fix? Go in person. The other thing that they can do, and this is coming, I can see it coming on the horizon. There is a way that they can use AI, artificial intelligence, to fake someone else's voice. So all they need to do is get a clip of your grandson or your granddaughter's voice, and they can use that sound file and manipulate the syllables to make it sound like they're asking you for help. Please, grandma, please give them $10,000 because they're going to kill me or they've kidnapped me. Please, grandma. Don't even believe it because it's too easy to fake these things. It's too easy to fake. If something like that happens, you don't talk to the scammers. You hang up the phone and call the cops. You call the cops. You don't try to fix it yourself. And believe me, getting $10,000 out of the bank is not going to help them because it's not even them. It's likely it's not even them. And the police and law enforcement, FBI, whoever it is, the local police first, and then if it has to go to the FBI, it does. But don't try to fix it yourself. You're not Superwoman. It's likely not them. So you just remember one thing. When you're on the phone or the computer, you don't know who you're speaking with. You don't know. It's interesting that my scams were in person, but again, it's fear and widow brain. I was scared. I couldn't take care of my house myself. I was terrified. I was cowering. It takes a real special, nasty person, like a really degraded, demoralized, deplorable, to look at a widow who's literally cowering in front of you. Her face is full of fear, and then stick her with an $8,000. I had to insert another clip because I had to cut off that feed on the last clip, the last section, because that's where I started to curse after I said $8,000 and I went like this with my hands and I punched my hand. That's when I started to curse, so I took it out. The other thing I have to mention, this is the usual disclaimer, and I know this sounds like an incredible cliche, but it just happens to be true. Some of my best friends over the years have been Indians and Pakistanis. So that's no lie. I'm not making that up just to make it sound good. That's actually the truth. And it's not, I mean, look what the Americans have been doing. Not all Americans are jerk offs. They're not all deplorables. We are not all deplorables, especially right now. I don't even want to travel anywhere. Right now, it's kind of really, it's a jungle out there. We're alienating our two closest allies and neighbors. Gee, that's real smart. Let's do that again. I just don't understand some things. But anyhow, I wanted to make a disclaimer. The only people I'm blaming for these scams are the people who are doing it. They just happen to be at the moment located, most of them on the Pierogi channel, most of them on the telephone and the internet are in Pakistan and India, mostly I think in India. And a lot of them they have like Islamic names, and that goes like against everything that Islam is about, is to be dishonest. You're not supposed to do that. And don't talk about taqiyya because that's only in warfare. So I learned this. There's two times where you can use taqiyya, which is official lying. If you're in warfare, you're about ready to die, and you don't want to tell your enemy where to go get the knife. Or if your wife says, does this dress make me look fat? Better lie. That's when you're allowed to lie. So people who hate Islam, they like to talk about taqiyya, taqiyya. Yeah, everybody does taqiyya when their back is to the wall, whether it's in warfare or even in business. Oh my God. And education, it happens. Lying is like a stock in trade. So the fact that these scammers are basically lying, like they're not alone. So I had to make that disclaimer in favor of my rather numerous friends from that part of the world. Sorry about the V and W thing, but it's true. I'm telling the truth. I love you anyway. Peace out.